All right, really for all intents and purposes, the Fred that we know is dead because there is no, and the Hurricane Center, I'm not just saying this on my own, the Hurricane Center is also saying in their discussion that based on satellite data, they cannot find the closed center of circulation. And normally that means they would just scrub it, but they're waiting for a satellite pass, as well as tomorrow morning the hurricane hunters are going to go in there and investigate. Now, I even think by tomorrow morning we probably won't see any kind of well-defined center by any means, so what is likely going to happen is that we will see a new center form. Where will that new center form is yet to be determined. It could be a little closer to the Florida Straits and Key West, kind of associated with this upper trough, and the associated wind shear might help to get a little bit of rotation going. And if that's the case, we might see a little bit more of a easterly path to this storm, or at least kind of building a little bit more east, and that may help to shift the models a little bit more to the east. Basically, as I was saying earlier, with it so unorganized and really almost gone at this point, the computer models have to find that center of circulation in order to give a more accurate forecast. Well, there is no real center of circulation, so we started to see the models almost kind of drifting a bit. Now, they have been drifting more to the west, and without any more reliable data, the Hurricane Center is just kind of basing it on the trend of the models, which has been a little bit more to the west. I would not be surprised to see another shift in the models by tomorrow. Now, as this gets better form, we will have a much better idea of a landfall, which remains off to our east. We still look to be in fair shape from this. The only thing that we could see, this is the probability of tropical storm winds, and they disappear on me, but the greater percent chance is going to be obviously to our east. The percent chances that we have around southeast Louisiana and the Mississippi coast is ranging from around 3 to 5%. So the probability is still very low of even strong winds here. We might see some gusty winds, especially along the Mississippi coast and maybe even the mouth of the river, as the models are still indicating keeping it to our east and maybe a little bit more into northwestern Florida, as even what the models had been saying. Wind shear is still going to plague the storm for the next 24, maybe 36 hours. Once it gets into the eastern Gulf, we may see that begin to relax. Here is the latest on Tropical Depression 7. Still not yet Grace, likely to become that, but thunderstorm development this evening is all but diminished. So it's having a tough time, mainly because of this fast forward motion to the west at 21 miles an hour. Forecasts have really not changed. Looks like it's going to be influenced by the islands once again, moving over Hispaniola by early next week. So once we are done with Fred, then we can kind of change our focus to more 7, which will likely become Grace. There are still some models that kind of have it almost dissipating at this point and becoming just an open wave, which is still very much a possibility. This far out in the tropics and the way this season had been going, we're not really written anything in stone with these forecasts. We'll be watching Fred closely over the weekend, but it looks like by Monday, probably more later in the day, should see that moving inland over northwestern Florida.